Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, on this episode of John's Arcade, we're gonna do part number 8 of the Atari Quantum restoration. That is right guys, we are going back to the garage, and you know what, buckle up because we're gonna be doing a ton of stuff in this video. I am not kidding, a ton of stuff. And the first thing I want to do is I want to put that Kickplate on, because you know in the last video we put the artwork on the Quantum, okay, but we did not install the front Kickplate, you know, the part where the coin door goes in. So we're gonna install that in this video. I want to put T-molding on the cabinet. I want to address all of the metal parts in this video, you know, the coin door, the marquee brackets, all of that stuff. And also I want to attack the control panel. We're gonna put the control panel overlay on in this video. And also I want to rebuild that trackball, because you know Atari Quantum had a oversized trackball, and I've got an original one from a millipede that we're going to rebuild and use in this restoration. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go to the garage and get to work on the Atari Quantum. All right, guys, we are back in the garage, and yes, just look at the Quantum. I have to tell you, you know, I've come out here a few times at night just to admire the game, because I cannot believe how amazing this artwork is and just how great it looks on this cabinet. I mean, come on, look at this. And yes, in the last video, if you guys missed it, we installed the side art, okay? We put the art on the sides and on the Kickplate, and it looks really good. Yes, we did have a little hiccup, you know, that I don't want to dwell on it too much, but we're gonna have to maybe fix it somehow, touch it up. But we had a little bit of a bubble here that kind of burst, and maybe we'll touch it up in this video with some acrylic paint or something. I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, it was a really successful install, and it just looks freaking amazing. So anyway, in this video here, the first thing I want to do is I want to install the Kickplate on the cabinet, okay? And we didn't do it in the last video because I wanted this all to dry, because we used Rapid Tech. We used the wet method to install the artwork, and I'll tell you guys the truth, it was kind of lifting up a little bit on the corners here because the Rapid Tack was not completely dry, and now you can't lift it up at all. So I think it was really a good idea to let it dry overnight, let that Rapid Tack kind of evaporate and get out of there, and let the glue do its job and really stick the artwork to the wood. And anyway, so what we're gonna do here is I wanna put the game on its back, and we're gonna install the Kickplate right off the bat. And I'm a little nervous about this because I think it's gonna be kind of a tight fit on the front here. And I'm just worried that we're gonna really bang up the Kickplate, the sides of the cabinet, and all of that as we install it, because I think it's a really tight fit. And I've been kind of thinking about how we wanna do this, and I think putting it on its back is gonna be the best way. We're gonna have to glue it and screw it in, which is what Atari did from the factory. And, you know, which shouldn't be a big deal at all, but, so let's go ahead and put the game on its back here. And so the plan is we're gonna take some wood glue and we're gonna glue it to the wood right here on the right, the bottom, and then the left, okay? And then we're gonna screw it from behind using the original screw holes, so basically we have to line it up to these original screw holes, which are here, here, and here. And with the glue, and I think we'll start the screw holes while it's on its back. I can at least get to the top ones here, and then we'll bring the game up and then install the rest of the screws while the game is erect. So let me get some wood glue here, and I'm just opening my wood glue here. So I'm using Type Bond 2 premium wood glue. Good glue. So I don't want to go too nuts with the glue here, but I'm going to apply a bead of glue basically on this rail right here, like so. And this might be overkill for home use, but it is what Atari did. And then we'll apply a bead here, and hopefully we're not too messy when we put this on. And so Atari had some here too, huh? Okay. And it looks like we want to put some right here. So I'm pretty excited here, because after we put the Kickplate on, and then we're going to do the T-molding, this thing's going to really look like a Quantum. And it's so tempting to like pull the metal parts out and the marquee and the glass and put it all together and go, wow. But no, we can't do that just yet. Let me get my my rubber mallet too. I think we might need this to pound a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna take the kick plate and we're gonna just kind of gently lay it on here, and hopefully we don't make too much of a mess with the glue. And I'm hoping it, oh, is it gonna just drop in? No, it's not. Yeah, see, this is what I was afraid of. It's gonna be a really tight fit. I wonder if I can flex the cabinet a little bit to get it to drop down. There we go. Okay, it's in. That wasn't too bad. So I think we need to come up a little bit. I was just worried about it like pushing the artwork out, and it's not really doing that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I need to, let's see what's going on right here. Wow, there's hardly any black that shows on the sides. Okay, so let's get the screws, and I want to get the screws started from the back, and hopefully I'm kind of lined up here. And so there's just a couple Robertson screws, which have these square heads that go in from the back into the kick plate, and I got glue on here. So let's see if we can find the holes. Here's one right here. And I'm just gonna see if I could start the screw by hand. I'm just gonna see if I can find the spot. Yeah, it's in. Let me get the bit. I'm gonna just screw it in by hand, at least the first ones, because I don't want to create new screw holes. I want to use the old ones because we know that's the right spot, right? So let's kind of come in here with my screwdriver, and I'm gonna manually turn the screw just to kind of verify that I'm in the right spot. And if it's not working, then I know we're not. Right there. I kind of felt it fall in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead here and start the two top screws, and then we'll come back. Okay, I have the top two screws screwed in, and I'm looking all around here. It looks really good. It did not push the artwork up at all, which is good, so it's all laying flat. So let's lift it up, and then we'll do the rest of the screws, which should really tighten this up. So let's lift it up. All right. And then let's do the rest of the screws here. And I want to wipe off all the excess glue because I can kind of see that there is some. All right, so let's come in the back here and let's put the rest of the Robertson screws in. And I'm going to use my drill. The top two I did tighten by hand. So maybe we'll come in and just really snug them up with my drill. All right. Okay, so maybe we'll do the bottom ones next. Don't want to strip this. So I'm using my drill. I have it on the 6 setting, which kind of causes it not to go too crazy here. All right, so let's do this guy right here. And it's really pulling the the kick plate to the cabinet. So where are the rest of those screws? Here's one. 2. I got 2 more screws, is that right? 1, 2. Am I missing screws? Weird. Looks like I'm missing 1 screw, maybe? All right, let me go see if I can find the missing screws here. All right, guys, I have it all screwed in here, and oh my God. Just look at this. Oh, it's so amazing. I still don't know what to make of this white around the speaker hole. It's actually starting to bother me. I mean, my artwork is centered. This white space is the same as the white space on that side. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, no matter what, there's going to be white around this, but it looks like it should be shifted to the right a little bit. But it's clearly not the case because it's centered. I don't get it, guys. And I'm worried that that white's going to show when we put the speaker grill on. You know? Because look, when we put this on here, you can see the white through it. I guess barely, but I don't know. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so what are we going to do now? I want to actually put the speaker on. Let's put the speaker grill on. Now, this is the original speaker grill, and I was kind of inspecting it, and it's in good shape. I'm not going to paint this. It's got the original powder coat finish on here, and I'm not going to mess with it. I think it's in fine shape. So we need to drill the holes, though, okay, because I haven't done that yet. And I'm going to go from the back there, and I'm going to drill a smaller pilot hole first, okay? And then we'll drill the correct size after. So let's come through the back here, and I'm just going to go through the original speaker holes here. Actually, this is the size. Let me get a little smaller. I'm just kind of worried about cracking the laminate and stuff, so I'd like to drill a pilot hole first. So here comes the first hole. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then let's get the larger size, which is the actual size of the hole here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now, when we removed the speaker, we used, we removed rivets, okay? And I don't have a rivet gun. Actually, let's take a look at what we did here. Not too bad. So I don't have a rivet gun, so what we're going to do is we're going to use these security screws, these black security screws. Actually, my friend Daniel sent me these. So Daniel, thank you, because on the pole position 2, I was missing the original speaker grill. And so he had a spare pole position, so he mailed me the speaker grill, because the one we have on there now is not original. And then he also threw in 8 of these security screws with a nut that is not original, but kind of has an original appearance. So we're going to use these to hold the speaker on. And I think that it's going to look pretty legit when we're done. Because like I said, I don't have a rivet gun. I don't really feel like spending the money on one. So we'll just do it this way. And it looks like we need some washers on the back. Let me just check my parts here. So whenever I take a cabinet apart, I throw all the parts in the coin bucket. And I always seem to find them as I need them. So it's just I think a good practice. Okay, so here's the original speaker. It's a 6x9. I did clean it up a little bit with some simple green and paper towel. It's just kind of really dusty and made in Taiwan, whatever. So let's go ahead and put this on with the grill. And let me get situated here. Okay, so we're gonna need the washers, the 4 screws, and 4 nuts. And then after we do this, I think we're gonna put the T-molding on. Let's get that over with. So, are you guys feeling it? Because I sure am. This thing looks bad arse. All right, so here's the grill. Let me just see if there's a good or a bad side. I think this side here is better. And I'm not really sure if it matters how we orient the speaker. Should I have the tabs on this side or on this side? I don't know. I don't think it matters. Let's, I wonder if there's any clues in here. No, there really isn't. So we'll just put it in with the speaker, with the wires going to the right here. I guess, again, I don't really think it matters. And then let's put our security screws through there. And that really does have an original look to it, doesn't it? Look at that. That looks legit, right? If I saw that, I don't think I would question it. Okay. This one doesn't want to go in. It's getting hung up on the grill. Let me see if I can relieve some of the pressure here. Why is this not going in? Maybe I need to clear out the holes a little better. Boy, that's a tight fit. There we go. Now this one. There. Okay. How's that look? I think that looks pretty legit. And then we'll come in from the back with our speaker. So these screws are not long enough. Crap. I don't think these are going to work. I guess I'll try, but I don't think so. Nope. Yeah, they're not long enough, guys. Crap. All right, well, we're going to have to come up with some other screw solution. That sucks. I'll have to go online and see what I can find. Okay, well, I guess we'll skip this step. Let's get ready and do the T-molding. All right, guys, I have a blanket down, so we're going to put the cabinet on its side, and we're going to protect the artwork with the blanket, and we're just going to put the T-molding one side at a time and go all the way around, starting with the bottom where we're going to staple it. All right, so, okay, we're going to be using a 3/4 inch black smooth T-molding, okay, and this is what Atari would have used. And I bought this actually on eBay, like from Twisted Quarter, and I ordered 40 feet, which is probably more than we need. Normally I'd get 20 to 30 feet for an arcade cabinet. I ordered a little bit more because with these games, the Atari games, the T-molding is going to go all the way around the entire perimeter. We're not just doing the front and a little bit of the back. We're doing the entire cabinet. And I want to start on the bottom here, and we're going to staple it in here. Like so, and I'm going to take a rubber mallet. Now, I am mildly concerned, that the laminate is going to poke out a little bit past the T-molding because we did make the cabinet a little bit thicker. And I'm optimistic that that's not going to happen, but we'll see what happens here. So let's come in here with my rubber mallet, get stuff started here. And what I like to do is I like to throw some staples on the bottom using my pneumatic nail gun. So I've got little... these are about 3/4 inch staples, and we're going to just come in here and just kind of reinforce the T-molding onto the bottom so it can't really fall off, and this is in a spot that you'll never see. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make our first corner, and we've done T-molding plenty here on the channel, and I'm going to use my side cutters to remove some of the barb as we go around the corner. Okay, I'm just going to take some side cutters And so to make this turn here, the first turn, we need to remove some of the barb, okay? And this is pushing a little bit on the artwork, so I have to be careful, which is I was concerned about. So we got to make sure that the artwork really goes around the corner. So I'm going to come in here and just remove a little bit of the barb so we can make this really sharp corner. Okay? Just like so. And then let's go like that. That looks good. And let's get our rubber mallet. And putting T-molding on, not hard, just a little time consuming. Okay. And I'm just kind of taking my finger to just kind of smooth the artwork. All right, so we got to make this turn up here where the control panel goes. And again, just kind of removing some of the barb so it can make that turn. Just like so. So the T-molding groove on this cabinet is in pretty good shape here. We're having no problems so far, knock on wood. So it's like super hot today. It's actually like the next day here, or actually it's a few days since we started this video. It's the weekend now, and it is muggy out here. I wasn't gonna come out today because it's oppressive. But whatever, we gotta get this done. Okay. This is looking good, guys. So let's remove a little bit of the barb so we can make this corner right here. Okay, so now we gotta do the same here. Okay, now we gotta do the back corner. And then go all the way straight down. And then we're almost done. So I'm just removing some of that barb. Coming straight down. Okay, so now we got the back corner here, and then we're almost done. Not too bad, right? And once this T-molding on, my God, this thing's gonna look really finished. All right, let's see if we can make this corner here without, I don't think so. We gotta remove a little bit of the barb here. So back here, I think the wood is a little swollen and the T-molding groove is a little stretched out. So we're gonna have to use some staples on the bottom, some more staples. And it doesn't bother me. I use staples on the bottom all the time anyway. Yeah, this is really stretched out. All right, so let's cut this to length. Right about here. Okay. And let's see if we can get this in. Yeah, the wood is really swollen down here. Okay, I'm gonna take my staple gun and really just kind of finish this off here on the bottom. We're done with that side. So let's lift up the cabinet and see how it looks. All right, guys, we got the T-molding on, and I'm kind of looking at it here, and I'm not in love with it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like if the T-molding was a little fatter, it would do a better job, because we did add that laminate, which added a little bit to the thickness, and I think the cabinet might have been a little swollen, just a little bit, and we can kind of see the edges here, and it's sort of bothering me. And I'm wondering if I order 7/8 of an inch T-molding, if I'll like the results better. And I was kind of measuring the wood here, and I don't think 7/8 of an inch T-molding is actually really that much thicker than what I have now. Especially when you take into account the total thickness of the cabinet. So 7/8, I mean, this cabinet right here is pretty much 7/8 thick. It's just a hair shy of 7/8. So you know what? I think I'm going to stop with the T-molding. I think we're going to end up redoing this right side here, because I just don't like it. I think it could look better. And I'm going to order 7/8 of an inch T-molding. I want to just compare that. I went online, I looked at Twisted Quarter, and they do have 7/8 of an inch T-molding. So I think we're going to stop with the T-molding right here, and we're going to redo it. We are. Not right now, I have to order it, but I'd like to compare before I do the other side. And I think we're going to end up taking this off and putting 7/8 of an inch T-molding on here. I think it's just going to do a better job. I don't like this slight white edge that's in here. It looks kind of sloppy. And because the cabinet is an inconsistent thickness from top to bottom, just because it's, 40 years old, and the wood is not perfect, and you can see there's just an inconsistent thickness top to bottom. It looks like it's thicker at the bottom and a little thinner on the top. I mean, we're talking a small amount, but I can see it. I can see white, like on the edges right here. So I think we're going to stop with the T-molding. We are. Why don't we work on the metal parts? Let's do that. All right, let's clean up a little bit, and let's move on to the metal. All right, guys. So let's address the metal parts, and I have all the metal parts right here. Now, I was thinking about getting them powder coated, which is obviously the easy way out. You just drop this stuff off, and a powder coater would sandblast this, get everything off, strip it completely, and then powder coat it. But I think I want to save the dough, because it would probably be at least $100, maybe $150 or more to get this stuff powder coated, and to paint it. We're talking about a couple cans of paint here, $12. So, and you know what? If we don't like the results, we can still get it powder coated. And honestly, I've always spray painted. I just kind of had it in my mind on this project that I was going to do powder coating, and I decided not to, just to save the dough. So what we want to do is basically sand all the rust off this stuff, and then repaint it. Now I want to show you guys something here. This is the original marquee bracket. This is the lower one, I believe. And actually, this is the upper one. And you can see it's got a hammered finish. See that? It's almost like a leather-y finish on here. And this is the original finish. So we're going to try to recreate that with hammered paint and then going over it with black paint. The hammered paint by itself is not like a true black. So normally I paint it first with the hammered, let it dry, and then go over it with black satin paint. And you kind of get this effect. Not exact, but really close, okay? And a lot of times too, if the stuff isn't really rusted too bad, you can just go over it with black paint and the hammered finish, the original one, will kind of come through. So if you don't need to sand, I say don't sand and just paint it with just black paint if you want to maintain the original hammered finish. But we got some rust right here, a bunch of junks. We gotta sand this stuff, and like just looking like in here, look at all the rust. And it's gonna be kind of tricky to get in here to get all that rust out. Now this piece, yeah, this has a hammered finish too. And then the coin door originally also has that kind of hammered finish, and this thing is really rusted, so it actually looks like someone painted this already. I can see the paint drips. Very strange. So anyway, what I want to do is I want to strip the coin door completely, and then also I've been throwing my loose screws and nuts and washers into my tumbler, okay? And we're going to let this stuff tumble for a couple nights. I actually was getting low on the media, and what I'm using in my tumbler is ground walnut shells. And this is actually marketed for reptile bedding, and I buy it on Amazon. If you buy the stuff that's like actually marketed for tumblers, it's more expensive, but it's the same stuff. So this is what I do. I go on Amazon and I get this right here. It's called Desert Blend Ground English Walnut Shells, and it's a mild media, I guess. It's kind of not super aggressive. Doesn't really take off like, you know, if something's chrome plated or something, it won't attack that. And usually it takes a couple days to really clean this stuff up. We might accelerate some of these parts because I want to paint them black, like see how rusted that head is. But the rest of them I'm going to kind of just leave in here and let it go for a couple days. And hopefully, even though I'm kind of low on the media, there's enough in here to do it. But this tumbler is great. Because like there's some smaller parts in here, like these little lock washers, that would be very, very difficult to sand. Let me see if I could find one right here, okay? And these are all rusted. Maybe this one's not so bad, but this is a part that would be very difficult to sand and get the rust off. And you just throw it in the tumbler, let it go for a couple of days, and it comes out looking like brand new. And this tumbler I got on Amazon for like $40 or something. It's a quick and easy case tumbler. It's designed for tumbling ammunition shells, okay? You know, the brass. Because the guys that reload ammo, they will tumble the brass shells first and then reload them, and that's what this is marketed towards. And this one's kind of a medium-sized tumbler. You know, you can't put giant parts in here, but overall, it's really good for screws and parts and nuts and bolts and washers and stuff. So anyway, all right, let's take the coin door apart, and we really need to take this whole thing apart and paint it and get all the rust off of here. So now these locks that are on here right now, I'm just going to toss. These are originals. I don't have the keys. So we're just going to toss those. Let me get my channel locks. So I'm just going to come in here with my channel locks and just kind of break the nuts on this lock. And really the only way to do this coin door is to remove everything completely. We're going to remove the doors from the frame, remove the coin mechs, and then really kind of scrutinize every part as we go along. Boy, this is stripped or really on there. Kind of bummed that the T-molding didn't work out. I'm not gonna lie. I've ordered the 7/8, and you know, the 7/8 T-molding is really a 1/16 of an inch wider on the left and the right. Okay, so that means that on our right side or the outside, that 1/16 of an inch is going to be perfect. The question is on the inside, if we're gonna have some overhang with the T-molding. Now, when I did my jump bug, I used a little bit wider T-molding than it required, and there was a little bit of overhang, and it didn't actually bother me. So if we have a little bit of overhang on the cabinet, I think it'll be just fine. So let's get all these screws out of here. So this whole mechanism, I believe, is held down with 4 screws here, or looks like maybe 8. Let me just see if this comes off yet. So anyway, once all the screws are off, the whole thing just like falls apart. So just kind of go like this. And then looking at these parts here, these we're gonna clean later. So I'm just gonna put those aside. They look like they're in pretty good shape, just need to be cleaned. And they've got little paper inserts in here that we'll address later. Now these metal parts here, these can definitely stand to be tumbled. I could totally tell that these were spray painted. So I'm gonna throw these in our tumbler, along with the flap right here that's all rusted, and then this bezel that goes around the coin return. Same deal. So we'll tumble all of those. And then these other parts, these like kind of plated parts, those we can just clean later. So let's kind of put this all to the side, and then we'll put it all back together once everything's clean and perfect. So, okay, so here's our coin door. Now I want to take off the doors from the hinge, and there are 8 screws. They're kind of small. Okay, so we have all 8 screws off, and they just come off like so. Now this frame is like die-cast aluminum, and usually it's never rusted, but I could tell that someone painted it, and so we're definitely gonna paint it, and then also get the loose paint off of here. You can see, so we'll just sand it and then hit it. So all right, let's get ready to sand here. So I've got some 80 grit sandpaper on my electric sander, and so these doors definitely need it. They're not too banged up though, which is nice. A lot of times these are all kicked in and out of shape and oil canning and stuff, and I'll have to hammer it on my on the ground with a hammer. But I don't think that's the case this time. All right, so basically, and also let's look at this. Now I washed this down. This doesn't look too bad. Looks like it's still dirty. I'm gonna wash this again. I don't think we need to sand this. I also think this is aluminum, so it's not rusting. So, but that's the grill for the back, and we'll just wash that and make sure it's nice and clean, and then hit it with our rattle can. So, okay, anyway, I'm just gonna go to town here. I have 80 grit sandpaper on my electric palm sander, okay? And I'm just gonna basically get all the loose stuff off, you know, like so. I mean, look at that. So just go through and get all the chunks off and the loose stuff, and just take your time and just sand, sand, sand. So anyway, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna sand all these parts, and then we'll go to the next steps. Alright guys, so I got all this stuff sanded, and I got this piece here, and I'm trying to get the rust in there. And so on my drill, I have like a little coarse pad, and I'm using this to get inside. And so, to get that rust out of the channel. And this drill's nice because it stays on. Push the little button. So I'm just trying to get in here and get all this rust off. It's deep in this channel. Definitely doing it. All right, let's take a look here. So you could see that we got in there. There's still a little bit of rust, which is kind of okay, because this Rust-Oleum paint, you know, you can go over the rust with it, but I'm going to keep going here with this device here and just try to get as much of this off as I can, but it's definitely way better than it was. I'll be right back. All right, I did as much as I could with the drill, and I'm coming in now by hand and just trying to get as much of this off as I can. And just got to be careful here, because it's not really a sharp edge, but just kind of rubbing this thin metal edge with my hand, and I don't want to cut myself. I think if I get most of it off, I'll be in pretty good shape. Super annoying. Yeah, that's looking pretty good here. I feel pretty good about painting it right now. All right, so let's kind of look over everything. Now this thing here was kind of a bear. The paint on this is peeling everywhere, and it's really hard to get into. I think I'm gonna use some stripper on this. I'm gonna try citrus strip first, just because it's a lot safer. I'm actually tempted to throw some on here too. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna throw stripper on the coin doors and on the frame. These guys I feel good about. We'll put these to the side. But the doors and the frame are kind of tough because there's all these nooks and crannies. And so I'm going to cover both of these with citrus strip, all three of these parts. And let's see if we can really get the paint off. And because we're going to be painting it with the hammer finish, our finish is going to be really good and forgiving because it's a hammered finish. And so we don't need to be really perfect, but we can't have loose paint, which is what we have right now. So yeah, I'm making a mess right now, but I'm just gonna basically paint these things with the citrus strip, like so. And I gotta work fast here because the citrus strip usually eats up these brushes. But citrus strip is a nice, safe stripper. It doesn't melt your hands. I've got some other stuff that's really lethal, but I thought I'd at least try this first because I don't need to get gloves and all that crap. This is just like an orange citric acid. And I'm just gonna make a bit of a mess here. And it's starting to eat my paintbrush. It's all right. I always sacrifice one of these cheapo, $70 whatever it is paintbrushes that you can get at Ace Hardware. So let's let this sit for about a half hour at least, and then we'll come back and see if we can get all this paint off of here. It should just fall off, I'm hoping. I know, I'm making a mess, but I don't really care. This stuff is pretty mild. I normally don't have to strip these, but the paint on this coin door is just like peeling everywhere, and it's very strange. And it's so hard to get in here. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna let this sit for a half hour, and then we'll come back and see if we can get all the paint just to fall off. All right, guys, I'll be right back. All right, guys, it's actually been over an hour. I actually just mowed the lawn. So anyway, so yeah, look at this. This stuff's just falling off now. And I'm just gonna go through here and just scrape off all the loose paint. And we have a bit of a mess on our hands, but we'll clean it up with some paper towel. But citrus strip definitely works. And then we're gonna have to sand the rust. There's like little spiders of rust on the door here. This works pretty well though. Yuck. Yeah, it's just falling off. Like I said, I normally don't have to strip the coin doors like this, but this paint was just all peeling like all over the place, and it was very hard to get out in all the little nooks and crannies. So the citrus strip definitely did a good job. So I'm gonna just keep going here, and I'm just scraping it, and then I'm gonna wipe it all down with a paper towel and just get all the loose pieces off, and then we'll clean up and come back. But citrus strip definitely works, but it does make a mess. All right, I'll be right back. Yuck. All right, guys, I cleaned up, and then actually I kind of went to town here just trying to get all of the little paint remnants off of here, and it was actually a lot of work. I basically took this and got in here all over the frame, and then I came in here and just cleaned this thing up. There was a lot of rust here on the top, and there's still some. So I'm just kind of going in there and getting all the surface rust off. And then on the back, you know, we got a lot of kind of loose paint chips and stuff from when the citrus strip went on the back. And I'm just trying to get rid of all the loose stuff and just make sure that whatever paint is weakened by the citrus strip is removed. Now right here, there was a coin control sticker that we lost. And I'm not worried about it. It's just a generic, you know, coin door sticker. It's not an Atari sticker, so. Not gonna lie, this is a lot of work, and more than I usually have to do for a coin door. This thing was really rusted, so I don't know what happened to this coin door, if it was out in the elements or what, but definitely one of the rustier coin doors I've ever done. So I'm gonna keep going here and just kind of sand and clean, but you know, I think we're almost done. It doesn't have to be perfect, because again, we're gonna put the hammered paint on first, which is gonna really just kind of blend in and hide a lot of the imperfections. And really, I'm mostly concerned about the top, and the tops look good. Doesn't look too bad, right? What do you think? This one here, I need to straighten it out with a hammer. Right here, that kind of got banged in. I think in general, this is pretty flat. So anyway, I'm gonna keep going here, just sand and clean, and then when we're done here, we should be about ready to start painting, but it's starting to look a lot usable. What do you think? It's annoying is what it is. All right, guys, I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm done, and that was exhausting. So I sanded and cleaned the front and back here. Whatever paint is on here is just sanded down. It's not coming off. It's not loose. So we're going to go right over this. Same thing with the coin doors. You know, I got 98% of the rust off here. Sanded literally everywhere. And there's no loose stuff. I came in here by hand with sandpaper and did all that. Same thing with this one here. Actually, this coin door here, I do want to get my hammer and pound that out really fast. And then all these parts are clean. One thing on this one, this is the channel bracket for the glass. And there is a Atari like part number or something right there. I kind of want to preserve that. I don't know why. So why don't we just like put a piece of tape over that part number? And that's on the inside. It's nothing that, you know, you can see on the outside. So I'm not worried that if you could tell that we taped this up. But I thought we just preserved that part number. What do you think? Might as well. So let's just cover that with some tape. And then we'll paint around it. So we're ready to do this. Let me grab my hammer really quick. I just want to just pound that door a little bit. Because the little part where the lock is all bent. And you'll find that a lot on these doors. And usually I can just pound it out really fast with a hammer. So what I'll do is I'll take a hammer here. And we'll come on the ground. And I'll just pound it flat. Like so. Yep, perfect. And this coin door is a little whacked, but not much. I think I'm gonna leave it alone, but you can see there we just pounded that flat. And that's perfect. So, all right, let's paint this stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint the back sides first. And we're gonna do one light coat of the hammered on the back. Because the hammered finish doesn't really need to be on the back, but it kind of was originally. And also I just want to cover up all our imperfections, but we're gonna do the backs first of everything. And we'll do one coat of the hammered finish on each part. So the back of this part is actually this side right here, because this goes in like so. So we'll do that. And do the back side of that. And we'll do this back side. And then our frame right here on the back. And so the first coat we're going to use a hammered finish, and I picked up Rust-Oleum Universal hammered paint and primer in one, any surface, any angle, fast drying, rust preventative, and this is black. But I don't know if you guys can tell by the cap here, when this thing dries, it's not really black. It is a very dark gray, and I don't like it. So what we're going to do is do one coat of the hammered, and then we're going to finish it off with just plain old satin black to make it really black. But this hammered finish is going to give us that kind of texture that Atari originally had on here. And I'm actually looking here. Did they have the hammered finish? I sanded it all off, so I can't tell. They did have the hammered on both sides. Yeah, I could tell they did right here. All right, so let's go ahead and hit this. So I am changing my technique. You guys yell at me all the time for going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm going to tell you though, I've never been disappointed with my painting, but we'll try the stop, across, stop, come back, the typewriter method. I need to make this paint last here too. I only got one can of this. All right, so I'm gonna stop here. This is my first coat, and we're only gonna do one coat of the hammered, and then I'm gonna come back and put the black satin on. I'll be back. All right, guys, it's been 45 minutes or so, and so this is the first coat with the hammered finish. Now I'm going to go over it with this. This is just plain old Rust-Oleum Universal Satin Paint and Primer. This is not hammered finish. This is just plain old black satin paint. And so now we're going to make this stuff really black, because as you can see, the hammered finish paint, not so black. So let me shake this up really well here, and this is actually pretty much dry. It says on the can that you should coat within 1 hour. So we're within that. And what I'll probably do is I'll put 2 coats of just the black on, and then we'll flip it over and do the other side the exact same way. All right, so let's go ahead and just hit this stuff with just the plain old black. And you can see just how much blacker this black is. That hammered stuff, I don't get it why they call it black, but it looks like gunmetal. And this is the best paint by far. This is the best spray paint I've ever purchased, and I buy it all the time. Costs a little bit more, but I always get the results I want. Even when I paint back and forth, which we're not doing right now. I'm trying the even stroke method, the typewriter technique. All right, I'm going to come from the other side just to get the stuff that we couldn't hit when we were on that side. And yes, I'm painting the garage floor. All right. Okay, so we'll let that dry, and I'll probably add another coat in about a half hour or so. Now, the one thing I do want to do is also paint the screws. Now, I pulled out the little hex screws that are used to hold those brackets down, which are these guys here. I had them in the tumbler. They didn't tumble very long, but we're going to paint them, and they're relatively clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them in just a little 12-pack here. Now, I just took my screwdriver and just punctured a bunch of holes into the top of this. This works really great. So we're just going to stick all of these in here. And then also, I'm going to show you guys, I went to the hardware store and I picked up some screws like these little kind of hex security type screws. And I picked up longer ones, 1.5 inches, that we're going to use to hold the speaker grill on, okay? The only problem is they're stainless, okay? I got these at Home Depot. They are 10/24 by 1.5 inch button head cap screws with the hex kind of Allen head on them. And so I think these will look pretty legit when we go to attach the speaker grill, but they're chrome, or they're stainless steel. So I'm going to just kind of sand down the heads a little bit so they'll take the paint a little easier. And this is all I could find at Home Depot. I went to Ace, I went to Tractor Supply. No one has screws like these, and then finally I found them at Home Depot. Unfortunately, they're stainless, and hopefully the stainless takes the paint okay. I believe I've used these before or something similar. I know I've painted stainless screws at one time in my life. So I'm just going to rough up the heads a little bit, and we'll paint the heads of these black. Okay, and let's stick them in here. Okay, so I'm going to paint all these. Let's go over here, and we'll just hit it with that Rust-Oleum paint and primer in one. Okay, and I'll come back and give them a second coat. All right, so that's it. Let's let everything kind of dry, and I'll come back in a half hour and do some more coats. Okay, actually, while we're waiting for that to dry, I just want to just kind of clean up the coin door parts, namely just these. These are the little plastic push-to-reject buttons. Now, these come apart pretty easily. There's a little slot right here. You can just put stick a flathead screwdriver in here, and this just kind of pops off really easily. And then inside here, you're going to find a piece of paper or film. Sometimes it's like plasticky, and sometimes it's papery. So this is papery, so that's the little insert. Pretty decent shape. We'll probably reuse that, so I'm going to put that to the side. But I'm going to take the two parts here and put them in a cup here, and we're going to let it just soak in some Simple Green overnight to clean this up, because they're all gunked up. And, you know, this stuff gets like soda and just junk and gum, and, you know, these things take a lot of abuse. This is where the general public is manhandling the game. All right, so let's come in here. See, it's all junked up. It should just fall apart right now, but there's all kinds of gunk on here. Look at that. There we go. All right, and we got the 25 cents. And then these little things here, a lot of times these will be trashed, and I'll print them on my printer. And you can just print them on normal copy paper, and sometimes I'll customize it. I'll put the Atari logo in the center here, like on this game. We might do that, I don't know. But so let's stick all the parts in here. And I'm going to put these to the side so they don't get damaged. I'm just going to put them at the bottom of here. And then got the parts in a cup. I'm just going to basically just soak them overnight in Simple Green. This is actually Mean Green, which is like the dollar store generic version. I actually use Mean Green more than Simple Green. I always say Simple Green, but really I'm using Mean Green. So we'll just let that soak overnight. And I don't think there's any other parts that we want to or need to soak, because everything else is pretty much metal. Yeah, we're just going to let that soak. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to let the paint dry over there. I'm actually going to clean up a little bit, and then we'll come back and do some other stuff. Okay, guys, I just put another coat of paint on, and that's going to be the final coat for this side. I'm going to let that dry for about an hour or so, then we're going to flip it over and repeat. So while we are waiting for the last coat of paint to dry on that side, let's talk about the control panel, okay? Because we have to do this, and I've got some options available to me. So let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, so right here is the original control panel. Okay, this is the original Quantum control panel. However, it was converted to Double Dragon, so they added two joysticks, okay, that were never there, and also two holes to accommodate them. They also added 3 buttons here and 3 buttons there, which were never there on the original control panel. And they also added a 1 and 2 player start button, which again were never there on the original control panel. So the original control panel is Swiss cheese, guys. I mean, look at it. So we can attempt to fill all these holes in and use the original one, but my God, you know what? There's just too many holes in this thing. I mean, they drilled all kinds of holes in here to accommodate this plexi they put on the top, okay? And actually, they did a pretty good job here. They actually bent the plexi to match the contour here. It's crazy, right? But, and these joysticks are actually kind of cool, I have to say. I don't know what kind of joysticks those are. They feel pretty good. So I think that we're not going to use this control panel because I don't need to, because I have a reproduction here from Takeman on Clove, and this thing is spot on 1-to-1. And so I see no reason not to use the reproduction, okay? Now, I am missing the trackball, and I'm missing the 1 and 2 player start buttons, because Quantum is a trackball game, okay, and it has your typical Atari cone buttons that went right here. You have a 1 player and a 2 player start, and then you had a trackball. It was actually a larger trackball. What is it, 3.5 inches? It's larger than Centipede, because the trackball in Quantum actually is the same as Millipede. So last year, or whenever I got this, I picked up this control panel, knowing full well that we were going to need it for the Quantum. So we're going to use this Millipede control panel, which has the right size trackball, which is the larger ball. Again, I think it's Is this 3.5 inch or 3 inch? Whatever. The trackball in Millipede is actually larger than the trackball in Centipede, and it makes the game a little more challenging. And it's a black trackball that we need, which is what this is. So this is the exact trackball, period, correct. And then we also get the 1 and 2 player cone buttons, which we need. So this is a very useful control panel. So we're going to take this all apart. I actually want to rebuild this joystick, the trackball, which means taking it apart, cleaning it. I didn't buy any replacement parts. And also, we might need the harness on this. I'm not positive. I have to double check, but I don't think that Joe Majera's harness, the reproduction harness that we're going to use for this project, has the control panel harness. I'm not positive. If it doesn't, I'm hoping that this harness works. Now, of course, we won't need this button. We can hopefully just cut these wires. But I'm hoping that the pinout for Millipede for the control panel is identical to the pinout of Quantum, of course, sans this fire button that we don't need. So anyway, what do you want to do first with the control panel? I think I want to put the overlay on, actually. What do you guys think about that, huh? So I have a reproduction overlay. I got this from, I believe Hans is his name, on KLOV. And it's a guy in Illinois, and he reproduced this, and it's supposedly dead nuts on. Now, I have nothing to compare it to, but it looks like a very nice reproduction here. What's interesting is that these bolt holes are knocked out, but the one right here is not. Not a big deal, but we're going to have to make another hole here for the fourth. Oh no, there is only 3 bolts for the control panel. Never mind. So we don't need a fourth hole right here. The trackball is bolted on with 3 bolts. So anyway, what I want to do is I'm going to clean up the control panel. Let's get set up here and put the overlay on. Okay, so I'm going to clean up the control panel. I'm actually going to use Wrap Attack to clean this thing up. And we're going to leave it black. I actually thought about painting it white because some guys say that if you paint the control panel white, the artwork pops a little bit more. But you know what? Atari originally had it black, so I'm just going to leave it black. And this is nice and powder coated. I'm not going to mess with it. And the artwork overall isn't exactly bright. It's very dark artwork, so I think we'll be just fine. So I'm going to wipe this thing down really well with the Wrap Attack. And I haven't decided yet if we're going to do the wet method here. What do you guys think? When I do control panels, I usually don't use Wrap Attack, but we might this time. We'll see. This thing's a little dusty. It's been in my basement for like 3 years. I know, it's hard to believe that we've been doing this project for 3 years. If we're not done in July, that's my goal. I want to be playing this game by 4th of July. What do you guys think? Can we do it? Maybe sooner? I don't know. I feel like we're going at a glacial pace here. All right, so we're all clean here. The main thing is the top. And this is a really nice reproduction. It's just spot on. Little spots on here. I don't know what to make of that. I'll just really clean it up. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so we're going to use clamps. Normally I'd use masking tape to line this up, but I think I'm starting to really warm up to the whole clamp thing because it's easier to use. The clamps are easier to use and they really hold. It's weird how there's these little spots in here. And they don't really wipe off. It almost looks like mold or something, which I don't think so. Unless that's rust that's starting to poke through the powder coating? I don't know. Can you guys see those little hickeys that are kind of in there? So I'm going to make sure all the lint from the paper towels is off. And yes, I'm probably rubbing the oils of my hand on here. Okay, so here's how it's going to go. And this is probably going to be horrible. So I think I should throw 3 bolts through here to kind of get the trackball lined up. And I wonder if we should take them from the millipede. We might as well. That's interesting. So the millipede actually uses 4 bolts to bolt on, and Quantum uses 3. I wonder why they did that. Let me get my socket set, and we'll pull the trackball off of the millipede, and we'll use those carriage bolts to hold the control panel on, overlay on. Okay, so I'm just removing these carriage bolts. We're gonna have to actually clean these up. These are pretty ugly. So I'll sand these and we'll paint these too. But for now, let's just pull them off and we'll use them as guides. Okay, there's 2. Let's get one more here. Okay, so let's take our carriage bolts and we're going to use these to kind of hold this in place. Because if these are lined up, all right. Oh, so this thing doesn't wrap up. That's interesting. Okay, so you guys could see, I thought this was going to go up here, and it doesn't. Okay, this is bothering me now then, because this little black, these little hickeys are going to be visible. Why are those there? Can you guys see what I'm talking about, by the way? Look in here. What are those? It really makes me think that it's rust. Could that be? Do I have to paint this thing? I'm really starting to think I want to paint the control panel. Because that's going to bother me, because I can see that. I mean, what is that? I do think it's rust. I think that this stuff is rusting underneath. That's my hunch, at least. It's not a stain or anything. It's not coming off. It looks like it's an imperfection on the metal that's underneath. I mean, just for the heck of it, I'll put a little simple green on it, but I don't think it's going to come off. Let's see. No, it's not a stain. It's something in the metal. It does not come off. God blessed. I kind of think I need to paint that. I'm going to hit that thing with black. I don't think I have a choice. Otherwise, that's going to show through. And if that's rust, that's not rust, is it? Very, very strange. All right, I'm going to paint it. Might as well. Because I just don't know what to make of that. All right, I'm going to set up and let's paint the control panel black. Okay, I have the control panel on the ground here, and I'm just going to hit it with a couple coats of black, and just to kind of cover up those little weird hickeys. Boy, that's weird. I don't know what to make of that. Like I said, it is not, they're not stains. They're in the metal. It really makes me feel that it is rust that's underneath the powder coating that's trying to break through. All right. I don't feel like I need to go too nuts on this thing. I just really want to get the top, because that's what's going to be exposed. But I'll just kind of paint the whole thing really just to even it out, but the only part that we're going to see is the top. So I'm not going to just worry that much about the body of this. All right, let's let that dry, and then I'll hit it with another coat. So I do have all those carriage bolts for the trackball, and I'm just going to sand the heads of these. I guess we'll just paint these really fast while we're waiting. And I'm just taking my sanding block here and just get all the surface rust off, and then we'll hit these with some spray paint. Cleans up real nice. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean these up, like I said, and I'll hit them with the rattle can and paint the heads of these exactly the same as we did all the other screws. Main thing is, though, you gotta get the rust off before you paint them. So, all right, I'm gonna paint these and we'll come back. Okay, while we're waiting for stuff to dry, I wanna take apart the trackball and see if we can clean it up. I could definitely tell that there's like some soda gunk on here and just ugliness. I don't know if there's cigarette burns here. Maybe we can sand some of that away with 2000 grit. I don't know. Let's take it apart and let's see what's going on inside. They do make rebuild kits. I'm gonna see if we can get away without using a rebuild kit and maybe just clean it up. Let's take a look inside and see if anything is worn out, and if we have parts that are just so blown out, then we'll consider the rebuild kit. Okay, so here's the ball. Pretty awesome, right? So we'll definitely shine this thing up. I'm actually tempted to sand this too, like wet sand it with 2000 grit. Okay, so we have these bearings. Put the ball over here, wants to roll away. We have these rollers with bearings on them, okay? And we're gonna just lube the heck out of these and clean these up. Look at that, they're all gunked up. So we'll definitely sand all the rust away and everything will roll a lot smoother. Now these bearings, I don't know if these are going to be salvageable. I don't know if we can lube them up or what. But let's take everything apart here. So we have the encoder wheel here and the bearing's kind of trapped on it. So let's put this to the side. And then this one right here. All right, so we got, I kind of want to soak the bearings in oil. I have some chain lubricant over there. So why don't we remove the encoder wheel and get all the bearings off? And we're gonna need a standard, what is this, a hex? It's a small hex bit on there. Let me see if I can use one of these. I'm just looking at my bits right here to see if I have something that'll fit in here. Let me grab, actually, what's this guy? No. Let me grab my Allen keys and we'll remove this so we can get this bearing off. All right, I grabbed my Allen keys here and I'm just gonna break this off and we should be able to remove the little wheel. I don't want to lose all these parts because they're tiny. So let's put that there. Now we can pull this bearing off. And then we'll do the same over here. I think we can rebuild this thing without spending any money. Because they do sell these rollers and the bearings and all that. So here's all the bearings. I'm gonna throw them in here and I'm just gonna, I have this lubricant here, it's for chains, but I think it'll work just fine. Let's just kind of spray these guys down and let it soak in this. What do you guys think of that? So I don't know, I'm using chain lube. What could it hurt? So we'll let that just soak in that overnight. And maybe that'll penetrate the inside of the bearings. All right, so that's the bearings. So this part here is free, and you could see that this is just disgusting. I'm kind of tempted to put this in my dishwasher. Same with the top. So this stuff has all kinds of pop junk here. It does look like there's some burn marks from a cigarette. I think we'll try to sand that smooth with 2000 grit. But I think I'm going to throw these in the dishwasher. And I won't do a heat cycle on them. I'm going to do that. We'll put those in the dishwasher. So let's look at the rest of this stuff here. We got these rollers. And is there just 3? No, there should be. Yeah, there's 3 rollers. Okay. So these are the rollers. Actually, I'm going to throw these in with the... I got brake cleaner. Should we try spraying these with brake cleaner? So I used to use this stuff all the time to clean stuff. Degreases, cleans fast, drives fast, removes brake fluid, grease, and oil. Stuff's kind of dangerous. I'm wondering, do I spray this on these? I'm kind of scared to sand these. I don't know why, though. There's some light rust on here. Let me see what kind of sandpaper I have. I want to use a higher grit sandpaper on these. So let me grab, what is this here? This is 180, 120 right here. I guess we could try the 120. Well, here's 180. All right, let's take a piece of 180 and see if we can just get the surface rust off. Right here. So we're kind of removing the finish that was on here, but I guess it doesn't matter because it was all rusted. That looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I kind of want to lube it up too. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to clean up all these barrels, whatever you want to call them. Just get the rust off of them and we'll come back. Okay, I got all the metal rollers looking pretty decent there. All the rust is off of those, so I feel good about that. So I think I am just going to clean these things by hand. I'll just spray them with Simple Green, just get all the junk off of these. And I'll probably go inside and rinse underneath the sink. Just get all this crap off of here. And we'll do the same with this one. It's just like 40 years of grossness on here. Oh yeah, it's disgusting. This thing is really filthy. Just gonna let that soak a little bit. And let's take a look at the top here. So I do think that the top is a combination of like soda and cigarette burn on the little ring. So I'm gonna go inside the house and rinse this underneath the sink and just kind of keep cleaning it and just see if I can make it like new again. All right, I'll be back. Gross. Okay, I want to polish the ball a little bit. I'm actually taking a magic eraser. I don't know if this is going to work, but a magic eraser is basically like high grit sandpaper, like super high grit, high grit sandpaper. And I'm just going to spray it down with a little bit of Simple Green just to kind of moisten it. And I'm just going to kind of come in here and hopefully this will just kind of get some of the surface haze off and give it more of a little shininess. I'm kind of afraid to take sandpaper to it because I just don't want to dull it up. And this just felt a little safer to me. And so we're kind of cleaning it and hopefully polishing it in a way at the same time. But this thing, these balls on these black balls on the Atari games, like on Missile Command, they always have this kind of chalky appearance to them, and I think that's kind of normal. But let's just kind of go over it, and maybe this will help a little bit. Seems low risk. So you can see that this ball is clearly larger, because like Centipede, the ball that's in there is basically like a cue ball. It's like the same size as a cue ball like in billiards, and this is obviously larger than that. I don't know the diameter. All right, I think that looks pretty okay. So we'll let that dry and we'll take a look at it in a little bit here. So these are the plastic parts. I brought them in the house and just kind of rinsed them off, and they look pretty good. I did not put them in the dishwasher. I don't think it's necessary. But I'm going to let these just kind of air dry. And we'll come back. I mean, I definitely want to let the bearings sit as long as I can in that oil, because I'm hoping that the bearings kind of suck up a little bit of the oil and kind of re-lubricate the bearings themselves. So yeah, we'll let all this stuff dry, let the bearings soak, and we'll come back. Okay, guys, it's actually the next day here, and I let all the metal pieces dry overnight, and so I think everything is in pretty good shape here. You can kind of see we kind of have our little faux hammered finish here, kind of like a leathery texture. I think in general this stuff turned out pretty great. What do you think? So it's fully dry. I did botch one of the pieces though, because I tripped over the I tripped over the paper, and this piece right here I knocked over, and it like touched everything, and look at it. I'm gonna redo this. Not right now. For now, actually, if we put this in the cabinet, you'll never notice, because this is the good edge right here. So the part that I screwed up is this part right here. I just kind of tripped over it when it was wet, and it flipped over, and the wet side went onto the paper, and then it pulled the paper off, whatever. So, but everything here looks really good, though. I mean, just look at this. Looks great, doesn't it? So that's a combination of the hammered finish paint plus the Rust-Oleum satin black, and here's the coin doors. So I think it looks really tight. So, okay, so what I want to do right now is I want to put the roller back together, and then we're going to do the overlay, because the control panel did dry overnight, and we could put the overlay on it. But let's rebuild the control panel. Let's put the trackball. Let's put the trackball back together. Now, overnight here, I've been tumbling all the parts, okay? And in here, I have the trackball rollers. And I did actually go to Petco, and I got some more of this stuff. This is that Desert Blend ground English walnut shells. And it's about $10 at Petco, and it's great media. And you can also get that same reptile bedding on Amazon. But I really wanted this to go overnight. Now, I don't think that what we've done so far on the tumbler is going to be super effective, because usually you have to let it go a couple days. And it's only been, I don't know, about 12 hours. But whatever, I kind of cleaned the rollers up before, so I'm sure they're in good shape. And we're going to have to paint these pieces right here, too. But I want to let them keep going in here. These are for the coin door. So we won't be able to put the coin door back together today. But I do want to get the rollers out of here and take a look at those. So here they are. And they look pretty good, but, you know, again, I sanded all the rust off before, so I don't think the tumbler did a whole lot in the 12 hours they were in here. So let's get the 3 rollers out. But they're definitely better than they were before, because they're all rusted. So, okay, so I've been soaking the bearings. I let them soak overnight in a, I use chain lube oil. And actually, let me grab some paper towels, because we're going to have to wipe those off. Okay, the bearings are pretty much dry. I want to show you guys one thing I did do here. So this is the top housing of the trackball. Like, you know, the ball kind of goes through there like this. And there was like a really nasty cigarette burn right here, okay? and it was really deformed and burred. And so what I did is I took some sandpaper and I sanded the inside of this and got it smooth. And then I went over the entire top of it with 2000 grit right here. And I just kind of sanded the entire top till it was smooth again. And I pretty much made the cigarette burn disappear. Now, it's not perfect, but it's like 50 times better than it was. And the 2000 grit is high enough that it doesn't really dull the plastic so much. And I just kind of took some sandpaper and just kind of went in the side and got rid of that burr, and then I just sanded it flat, and I think it looks really good. And I did completely clean this housing. It's weird. There's like some kind of, it looks like there's gunk on here, but it's not. It's almost like the plastic melted or something around here. I guess it doesn't matter. It's not going to be seen, but it's very mysterious what happened here. I'm not sure. Maybe it was the heat from the cigarette. I don't know. It kind of burnt the plastic though. So anyway, all right, let's start putting stuff back together. So we have these guys here. So we have a bearing that's going to go here, and then we're going to need a washer. So we have our little encoder wheels here, and one side gets a washer and one side does not. So I could tell here this is the washer side, and it just kind of goes like this, and then this screw goes through the one side here. Okay, and that just goes like this. And then we'll tighten it down with our Allen key. And just trying to get it started here. There we go. So I'm pretty confident this is going to really play nice. This is going to be a good feeling trackball just by taking it apart and cleaning it up. So this little wheel right here, when you spin the trackball, this thing moves, and then there's these little optical sensors right here, if you guys ever wondered how this works. So when the trackball is spinning, we have two axes, right, an X and a Y, and there's two optical sensors for X and Y, and based on how you're spinning the trackball, this thing reads it, okay? And there's kind of holes in here, right? So it's reading light, no light. It's actually it's like your garage door, right? With the little optical sensor that when it knows that something's in between. So it's basically reading something in between, not something in between, something in between, not something in between, because there's holes in there. So the eyes can see themselves and not see themselves, and that's how it knows when it's spinning. Pretty neat, right? So let's go ahead and put the next one together. And again, this just gets this little Allen screw, small washer on one side, and then a large washer on the other side, like so. And this screws into here. Okay. And then we'll just tighten it up with our Allen key. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's like the hardest part of this whole thing. All right, nice and tight. So let's take the base, okay? And so these things go like this. Actually, we need another bearing on the other side right here. And then the encoder wheels hang on. So this goes on this side right here. And that spins really nice, guys. Okay, so that one goes like that. And then so you can see that this little groove right here, that's where the optical reader is going to go. So the wheels ones, the ones with the wheels go here with that optical reader, and then here in that optical reader. So, and then the third one does not get an optical reader. Boy, that stuff spins really nice, guys. So those bearings really came right back to life. Okay? Look how nice that is. Okay, and then our ball goes right on top. Hopefully our ball doesn't get too oily here. Oh, that feels great. Okay, so now we need our optical wheels, and hopefully I put these in the right spot. I don't know if it matters. We might have them on backwards. I have no idea. Let's see what... I should have maybe taken a photo. I'm wondering if one way makes more sense than the other. Yeah, that looks that looks good right there. So we might end up having to take this apart if I did it wrong. It is possible. All right, so let's put this back together. And those optical wheels are, the optical boards are kind of sandwiched in between there. Feels good. And then we'll put our screws back in. And that should be it. So pretty easy to rebuild a trackball, really. And again, they sell rebuild kits, so if you open yours up and it's just cruddy beyond belief, or the bearings are seized up, you can buy replacements for all those trackballs. I know that when I rebuilt my Missile Command trackball, I used all new parts. But, the more I'm in this hobby, honestly, the less I start doing stuff like that, where I just kind of go for the complete rebuild. Because I think just taking it apart and cleaning it made this thing pretty nice. So we didn't need to spend the money. It feels great. It's awesome. Okay, so let me clean up here. Why don't we put the overlay on? You guys want to do that? All right, let me clean up. We'll come back. Okay, so here's our control panel. We did paint the top of it here. I hit it with that Rust-Oleum satin black, just because we had some weird hickeys. I don't know what to make of it, but anyway, let's clean this up completely. I'm going to use Wrap Attack. Just kind of prepare our surface. You could use anything. You could use water. Just make sure the surface is nice and clean. You could wipe it with alcohol if you want to be really cautious. But Wrap Attack, they say that it's a cleaner too before you apply the artwork. So, okay, looks pretty good. Make sure we got no dust or junk that we don't want underneath the control panel. Okay, so here's our overlay, and it's going to go on like this. And we're going to use the bolt holes for the trackball to kind of hold it in place. Now, I did sand and paint the original carriage bolts that hold the trackball down. And so they're dry. They dried overnight. So let's go ahead and just put one here. Put one here. Put one here. So that's pretty good. And then I'm just going to kind of be aware of the holes here for the buttons, okay? Which is like this, but that's a little crooked. I'm kind of tempted to put the buttons in here, because if you look here, even though I have the carriage bolts in, and if we make this completely straight, this is a little off. But I think that's actually okay. Yeah, the holes for either the control panel, that's pretty straight. I'm going to clamp this down. Alright. Let's take a look here. So we're nice and straight left and right. So let's clamp it down here. Okay. And the hole here is perfectly lined up with the trackball. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do the bottom half first, and we're gonna have to make this turn here, and it's gonna wrap around. Boy, that's gonna be really hairy. Kind of tempted to do the top first. So let's take a look here. So we're gonna have to bend this all the way down, and then it goes to there. I guess it's not so bad. All right, it's just kind of, there's kind of like paper towel dust on here. I don't like that. All right, I say we just go for it. So let me grab some scissors, and we're gonna cut the backing off and do that wrap around there. All right, so we're gonna cut paper back. Let's get this started here. Okay. Okay. Trying to cut this as straight as I can here. Okay. So I'm going to do this the dry method. I'm not going to use Wrap Attack. Okay. And I'm just trying to push any bubbles out of here. Okay. So far so good. So now we need to make this bend. This is going pretty smooth. Okay. I got a bubble right here. Let me see if I can push this out. So I have a bubble right here. We have a couple choices here. We can try to push it out, or we could take a X-Acto and just kind of pop it. See, because I didn't use Wrap Attack, it just doesn't want to move. So here, let me show you what we could do. Very carefully, we're gonna just puncture it. So I'm gonna take an X-Acto blade, and I'm just gonna kind of just put a little tiny pinhole in here. Okay, it's still there. There we go. I don't think I went through. There. It's gone. So that's the 1/2. So that bubble wasn't a big deal. I just kind of took my blade, went all the way through, and it just basically vanished. So let's go ahead and do the top half. Okay. God, I hate how dusty this has gotten in here. It's just like paper towel dust everywhere. Okay. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and just do this side. That's it. How do we do? I think we did pretty great. Perfectly lined up, edge to edge here, left to right. Trackball hole is dead nuts on. That looks awesome, guys. What do you think? So let's go ahead and put the trackball on. Now, I'm not really sure, honestly. Does it go like this? Does it go like this? So let's kind of see if we can figure it out. You see if one way makes more sense. I think it needs to go like this. No, it can't because of that hole. So, let me think about this. Let's see, how was it on here? I'm looking at how it was mounted on the millipede. I see. So it went like this, sideways. Gotcha. So it's kind of like a 45-degree angle. It's kind of just turned a little bit. And this does make sense because we have our Molex coming over here towards the button holes. No, this isn't right. Let's see. How the hell is this thing going here? So, I'm almost tempted to go look at the manual. Okay guys, I went and got the manual here and it shows how it's supposed to be installed. And by the way, I'm glad I grabbed the manual because it shows which optical board does what. So the vertical motion is the optical board that has black, red, yellow, and green. And that board should be facing towards me and on the non-player start button side. So it's right here, and the wires are red, black, green, and yellow, which is what it says. And then the horizontal side should be blue, violet, red, and black, and that should be facing towards the buttons, which is over here in the back. Now, the way I was trying to put it in was actually correct. It's just like a super tight fit, and I don't know if that's a function of the control panel, the reproduction, or what, but looking at the manual here, I absolutely have the right trackball. So I don't know what to make of it, but I got it. I got it in. I had to really jam it in here. It is tight, and I'm hoping that once we tighten this down, maybe it'll just kind of take some pressure off of the control panel, because it's wedged in here in a big way. So I'm gonna come through here and put the carriage bolts in, and we're gonna tighten this down as tight as we can. And where's the other black carriage bolt? But we got to get really tight. So I'm assuming that once we tighten these down with the ratchet here, that this thing will be sitting flush. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down like so. So getting in here is going to be a bit of a challenge. Let's see if this... Wow. Wow, this is a weird design. It is really tight. That's totally right. Very, very strange. Just seems like it should go the other way somehow. Yes, I totally have it in there the way they want it, but it's just super bizarro tight. I feel like it should be maybe flipped this way, where there's way more room here. But no, it's not right. So, all right, I'm gonna go find something that we can use to tighten this down. All right, guys, I've got it pretty much tightened here. I'm just using this wrench here. All right, let's see how it looks from the top. It looks good. So are we sitting in that hole? I'm not sure here. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we're flush. Okay, so the trackball is in. Okay, let's go ahead now and remove the 1 and 2 player cone buttons. And I was looking at the manual, and the colors of the... Oh, shit. Just cut the wire. God blessed. Did I really just do that? No, I think it's okay. So I'm removing the zip strips here, and I'm trying not to cut the wires. So we're going to have to... Anyway, the colors of the wires that go to the 1 and 2 player cone buttons are exactly what the manual says they should be. So I think that this harness is an exact match. I think that the millipede harness for the control panel is the same. They just added this fire button. And if that's the case, we'll just cut this out of here. We'll just remove this from the equation. I think for now, I'm just going to let the fire button dangle till we have everything working. And then once we know it works, I'll just remove it. Because if I have to get some other harness solution, maybe we want to save this millipede harness for whatever reason. Okay, I have the harness off. So if we look at the manual here, the 1 player LED start is gray, red, brown, and black. So we got to make sure that the one with the brown wire goes through here. And if we're to look at this, the one with the brown wire is this one right here. So that should be 1 player start. So let's go ahead and just push this through like so. And this is actually where you could see that the artwork didn't quite line up with the holes on the 1 and 2 player start button, but it did line up perfectly with the trackball. So I'm just gonna kind of take my X-Acto here and just kind of cut some of the excess off. This will all be covered up by the cone, the base of the cone button. Okay. All right, so this is 1 player right here. So let's take the brown push that through. And then on the other side is the cone top, and it's just threaded. And we'll just tighten that on there. Is this button bad? Let me see something here. I think this button's broken. Maybe not. Doesn't seem like it's sticking out far enough. Alright, I actually figured out what was going on here. The button's not going flush because this thing has these little nipples right here. Because the control panel originally had little rabbit ears that prevented this from spinning. I'm just going to snip these off because our control panel, the reproduction, does not have the little notches for these rabbit ears. And I'm just going to trim them off. I think it'll be fine. I don't think these are going to spin on their own, especially in my little home arcade. So that's a little detail that was missed on the reproduction control panel, which is interesting. Just going to try to make that as flush as I can. Maybe I'll take some sandpaper to it too and just get it nice and flush. The alternative would be, of course, to put those notches in the buttonholes. All right, let's try this now. So the white and brown one. Brown. Okay, now it's sitting flush. Much better. Okay. And then let's go ahead and put this one in. I'm not worried about this because, like I said, this is just my little home arcade. No one's going to be twisting on my buttons or trying to steal the caps or anything. Alright, and there's a ground wire that goes over here. Alright, so let's see if we can neaten this all up. So this ground wire goes here. And just like so. Trying to tighten this without the wire spinning. Alright, that's good. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look at the wiring in general and see if we have to neaten it up at all. So our trackball connection is made here. Like so. And we could put a zip strip in there. So I think that what we'll do right now is I'll grab some of these little self-adhesive zip strip thingies. See these? And Atari actually used these at the factory, and this little kit I picked up like at Tractor Supply has a whole bunch of them. So I'll use the white zip strips, which look a little more original. So let's go ahead here and we'll zip strip this to here. Actually, I want to put it through both of those. Guys, it is so hot, man. It's Monday now. This video I started filming almost a week ago. I think I started filming this video on last Tuesday. So I've been working on this video for 6 days. On and off. All right, so let's put one of these down here. And then this thing here, we're gonna eventually just get rid of. I'm just gonna let it hang. So let's put one like right here, like so. And then let's put one right here. And then I'm going to apply one more right here. It's looking pretty legit. Now hopefully all the wiring is okay and we don't have to redo this and this harness is actually correct, which is a bit of a risk I'm running right now by really kind of permanentizing, making this permanent. Did I say permanentizing? That's not a word. Okay. All right, that looks great. And then again, once we've figured out that this is the right harness, we'll just trim this away and get rid of it. Okay, so I want to put the control panel actually on the cabinet. What do you guys think? So let me find the carriage bolts. I got to fish them out of the tumbler, and then we'll put this thing on there. I wonder if I should put the speaker on first. Yeah, I should, because this is going to be... I think it'd be easier if we put the speaker on right now. Let's do that real quick. Okay, I have, these are our painted 1024 little bolts that we made. And I think that looks pretty legit. We didn't paint them fully, doesn't matter. We just really needed the head. So the bottom of them is just naked stainless steel, which is just fine because that's where we're gonna put our little nut on. So let's go ahead and line this up on the cabinet. And then we'll put our speaker on from behind. And I actually just sprayed this with Simple Green. It's a little wet. Let me just wipe it down really quick. I was just kind of cleaning this area up right here before I put the control panel on. All right, let's kind of come in here. And just kind of line this baby up. The holes are a little tight. Originally they had rivets in here, so we're kind of trying to simulate it with this. These holes are not threaded, but turning it is helping it go in. All right. Okay, let me grab the speaker and the nuts, and I did buy some new nuts, just some little stainless nuts to match the stainless screws. Okay, found them. These are just 1024 stainless nuts. And I'm gonna do it so the speaker wires are on the left side, or should we go right? Now let's go right, because We can always switch this later if for some reason this doesn't work. All right, guys, I've been messing around with this, and this is not going to work. Because the way Atari did this, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, is they riveted the grill to the front, and then they screwed the speaker to the wood in the back. Now, the speaker was not perfectly centered over the grill or behind the grill. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I actually don't really like it. So I have a couple choices now, and everything's actually kind of making sense, because when I was researching this, people were talking about putting some T-nuts on the back, so that when you screwed in the 1024 nuts, they were actually flush with the back, so you could then screw this off-center behind the speaker grill. So it's really goofy, and they kind of screwed it like at an angle like this. So what I'm wondering, though, is because everything, these 4 holes here do not line up exactly with the 4 holes on the speaker, but I'm wondering if I drill them out, if, like this one right now is through, okay? I'm curious to know if I can drill out the speaker. Okay, guys, I'm dropping this topic right now. I need to find a new solution for mounting this, and you know, it's obvious what's going on here. Look at, and by the way, I drilled 2 holes through the speaker right here, so hopefully that's okay, but this doesn't even line up on here even remotely. So, I mean, look at this. So this speaker grill is clearly way smaller than the speaker. So that's why they did it the way they did it, and it's just baffling to me, because I just assumed that the grill lined up with the speaker. That was kind of dumb. So apparently they just riveted the grill to the front, and then they screwed the speaker at an angle behind it that kind of avoided the rivet holes. So I got to either get a rivet gun or figure out some way to do this with T-nuts in the back. Oh, man. And I did do this right here just now. Go on, yell at me, guys. But you know what? This is going to be completely covered up by the grill and the head of the screw that holds the grill on. So, all right, let's just put the control panel on. At least have some some sort of a victory or something good happening here. Okay, so basically this goes on from underneath, and I guess we'll do the center one first. So we have to throw a carriage bolt through the hinge, okay? And then a washer and a nut on the top. So you see like this, carriage bolt, and then this kind of comes down here. All right, guys, I got it on. Actually, I want you to know, originally I had the hinge the wrong way. The carriage bolts actually go on the inside. The heads go on the inside of all this business. And so now you can see it kind of closes really nice right there. So how's it look? I think it looks pretty sexy, right? Actually, you guys want to put the marquee on and all that stuff? I think we should do that. Let's throw the glass on and the marquee, and we'll really be able to really inspect our Quantum. God, this thing's handsome. So, okay, so this little bracket right here just slides in like this. Okay, this is our glass channel thingy. It actually goes on the inside of that, like so. So let me grab our glass, and we should clean that up. I'll just put everything in hand tight right now. I just kind of want to experience the Quantum. And so this is the glass right here. This is gray light, I think they call it. It's a tinted black. So the original glass has some masking tape on it, like some 40-year-old masking tape. So I just threw a little bit of Goo Gone on here. I'm just gonna let it soak, and hopefully we can get that tape off, and then we'll Windex that whole thing. So I'm gonna let that soak for a few minutes, and then we'll come back. All right, we got the glass all clean here, so let's see how this goes on. I'm not actually too sure. There we go. And then the control panel closes like that. Looks pretty good. I didn't clean this side of the glass, so we'll do that in a second. So let's go ahead and throw the marquee brackets on. So this should be the lower one, I believe. And I think I'm just gonna hand tighten this stuff right now, because we're gonna be taking this off because we need to replace that bulb, which I don't even know if that bulb works, but regardless, I want to replace it. So I do think our black finish on this looks pretty tight, if I say so myself. That one doesn't want to go in. Let me grab the marquee. Oh yeah. Look at that, guys. We have arrived. Too bad we can't put the coin door on right now. I'm not ready for it. I want to tumble those parts a little longer. But there's the top one. I'll just throw one screw in the top here. These screws do not want to go in by hand up here. All right, regardless, I'll tighten them later. So, okay, let's take a look at it, guys. What do you think? Does it look like a quantum? Oh my God. I think it looks good. You know, I was looking online in between takes here at getting a rivet gun. I don't know, I'm so sick of spending money on stuff all the time. You know, I don't know, do we just get some T-nuts and screw it in from the back? The speaker grill, I don't know. Regardless, guys, we're gonna stop here. We did a lot, I think, didn't we? What do you guys think? So, let's kind of review. We put the kick plate on. It's been so long, I don't even remember what we did. So we put the kick plate on. That went on great. We put the T-molding on. That didn't go great. I don't like the 3/4 inch. I ordered 7/8 of an inch T-molding, which should be here in a couple days. I'm going to put that on as soon as it arrives. We did all of the metal parts. That was a success. The metal parts look fantastic. Actually, the one that I screwed up, you can't even see because it's hidden behind the control panel. We put the control panel overlay on and rebuilt the trackball. I would say both of those were a success. This looks fantastic. Control panel looks great. Trackball feels good. Feels fantastic. So we're truly getting somewhere here. The one thing that we didn't do was we did not mount the speaker grill and the speaker because I need to find some kind of a rivet or something to do that, and I'll have that figured out before the next video. So really, next video we're gonna put the the coin door back together. We're gonna put the speaker and the grill back on, and then the T-molding, and then that's it. The cabinet is done then 1000% next video. And then, guys, we need to start really dropping all the components in here. You know, we have the coin door, the coin bucket and the service switch and all that stuff. You know, this stuff over here. You know, we got to put that thing in there. We got to clean that up. The transformer assembly needs to be cleaned up. The monitor needs to be rebuilt. And then after that, it's just throwing the wiring in and we're done. So, wow. But look at it, guys. It looks pretty sick, right? You got to admit. So, all right, guys, let's go back to the basement. But yeah, I feel very good about what I'm looking at right now. I mean, this is truly a quantum cabinet. Look at this. And by the way, the marquee is a reproduction. Joe Majera had that, professionally silk screened, and it looks completely legit. So I don't know if there's anything about it that's different, but it sure looks legit to me. This is a darn good-looking game, wouldn't you guys say? So, all right, let's go back down to the basement. Woot! All right, guys, there you have it. That was part number 8 of the Atari Quantum Restoration. How did we do? Was it good? I think it was great. I think we did a great job. You know, that was a lot of work in this video, guys. That was like 6 days of taping. And my God, I really did tie up a bunch of loose ends, and I think overall it's looking really good. That control panel looks fantastic on the game. The one thing that's really bothering me, though, is that we did not mount that speaker grill and the speaker. I don't like that we didn't do that, and it's actually super bothering me. So I need to figure out a way to do that. I think I'm going to get rivets and a rivet gun, and we're going to do it how Atari did it originally, and then just screw that speaker into the back wall. It's really weird how they did that, to be honest, but I think that's the way to do it, and that was the original way, so I'm going to look into picking up a rivet gun and all that stuff. I don't think it's too expensive. I think rivet gun's like $20 or something. I've never riveted before, so I don't know. Can I do it? So anyway, let's move on and do some viewer mail, and by the way, if you guys want to participate in the viewer mail, you need to email them to me at blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, please put viewer mail. That way I can find them. That's how I search for them in my email. I search by subject line, viewer mail, 2 words, viewer space mail. Okay, the first viewer mail here is from James. It says, "Hey John, I just saw your Donkey Kong Jr. Game & Watch video, and you were talking about being an arcade kid and your mom letting you get the game from JCPenney and all. It's true, you know, my mind was blown when I got that, because I normally didn't get stuff at the store just randomly, and that was one of those times." So anyway, I was much the same, and I used to play the game and watch games in our stores, and would hope my parents would buy me one from time to time. I hang out in the game area of our supermarkets while they went shopping and play with the computers and handheld games as a kid. Who cares about food, right? By the way, I did this all the time. Like I'd go to to Kmart or something with my parents or my mom or my dad, and my mom would want to go look at towels or whatever at Kmart, and I would go over to the appliance section and I would play all of the demo kiosks, and I have memories of playing everything, especially the consoles I didn't have, like in television. I remember the Timex Sinclair, that little tiny computer, and I used to play Radar Rat Race. I have these random memories like that of just playing all of these kiosks in the appliance department when I was a kid, and it was just like heaven, because I couldn't have all that stuff. You know, I'd have like one thing only in one game, and to be able to go to the store and try other systems and other games that you just couldn't afford was amazing. Wow, I almost knocked that over. So, anyway, I was an arcade addict, and I would go as often as I could, but never thought I'd ever own any games when they all disappeared from our arcades. Just thought they were gone. Fast forward 30 years, my mom was really shocked when she first saw the games I bought, and has watched it grow over the last 5 years to over 100 games. God. James, you have quite the collection. It's actually my girlfriend's fault because she bought my first game. Back then, did your mom used to go on about you playing video games all the time, and now you're all grown up and everything and have your own real arcade? What does your mom think of it? Did she expect you to own arcade games? Anyways, love the Quantum Restore vids and hoping to make it to Brofest one year. Yours, Addicted Brother and Cade, James from UK. You know, it's funny. You know, I look back at my childhood, and my parents, especially my mom, was very supportive of all of this video game madness and computer stuff that kind of dominated my life as a kid. And, you know, I was never told not to do it or not to have it or not to play it. You know, she was always there. You know, my mom always supported me. I remember, I know I talked about this in my Atari 800 XL video, but, you know, at a very young age, she was signing me up for computer classes on TRS 80s. I mean, I was probably like in 4th or 5th grade, and at the time, nobody was taking computer classes. You know, I was learning basic programming at a very early age, and was just always involved in technology. And you know, and my mom got me the Mattel Aquarius computer first, and then the Atari 800 XL, and then I got the XM301 modem for it. And I had my dad picked up a 2600 when I was a kid, which became mine, and we had the original. We had a Pong game first, and then the NES. I bought that with my first paycheck ever as a human being. But yes, in general, they're always supportive, and it was always part of me and who I was. So I guess it was kind of natural to have this now as an adult. I don't know what my mom thinks when she comes over here. She thinks I'm crazy, maybe. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess having supportive parents about gaming as a young kid, because back then it was kind of it was a new thing, right? The gaming, it was the devil at work, wasn't it? So, but I was never told, like, I couldn't game unless I did my homework and stuff like that. So yeah, James, it sounds like you had a similar thing. So it's glad to see that your mom is impressed with your collection. 100 games is crazy, by the way, dude. That's nuts. So, all right, next one's from Peter. He sends me a link here. Here's a tech reference that could be useful to you on the Firefox game. Not sure if you've seen this site or not. And it's a link to the Dragon's Lair project, which is Jeff Kindle? What's his name? Jeff Kinder's website. Yeah, I've been all over Dragon's Lair project. That is a great website for Laserdisc stuff. They got all the manuals for every game, not just Dragon's Lair. Even though the site's called Dragon's Lair Project, they got everything on there. And I actually went on there to get all the manuals for Firefox and like the Laserdisc player manuals and all that stuff. So Peter, I've been all over that website. It's a good recommendation if you guys aren't aware of it. The website is dragons-lair-project.com, and it's a great website. Like I said, it's full of technical documents on all the laser games. They also have a pretty somewhat active forum. All the laser guys are in there, so whenever I have questions or problems, I usually post in that forum, and that's actually where like Sean Wood and all those guys are in there with Daphne and also the Dexter board, which, by the way, I'm getting very soon. I should have the Dexter board, I think, middle to late June, and that means that Firefox is going to be back to life because I don't know what's going on with Franz and my Laserdisc player. He's still fixing it. He's an older gentleman, very retired. I'm giving him space, and you know what? There's no mad rush right now because if I get the Dexter and that works great, we're bringing Firefox down here and we're done. So I'm very excited about Firefox. It's just sitting in the garage, just waiting and waiting. So thankfully that game's in amazing original condition. So I'm thinking we throw the Dexter in there, adjust the monitor a little bit, and bring it down. Of course, something's going to have to leave. I don't know what just yet. I have the empty space right here for Ghostbusters Pinball. And then I need a spot for Quantum. We need a spot for Firefox. I'd love to bring that Bronco EM pinball down here. We'll see. Things will be changing soon. I don't know in what way, but we're going to have to make room for stuff. Next one here is from Terry. Hi, John. I've watched your channel for a while now, and I enjoy it, and I'm learning so much. The reason I am writing is I don't know if you are aware of movies such as The Space Invaders and The Video Craze, as these are movies about arcade collecting. I was just thinking to myself, I would love to hear John's story in one or both of these movies. Terry, a.k.a. Jag Niner. Yeah, I've seen those movies. Video Craze was okay. Space Invaders was decent. It's funny. There's a lot of these video game movies, right? We have King of Kong. There was what was that one called? Oh God, Chasing Ghosts. Right, those are the kind of the two big ones that came out right away. King of Kong is my favorite and is still my favorite. I love watching that movie. I think it's a great, fun movie. I realize it's not true, and it was edited as such, so it's a little more dramatized. But it's very entertaining, and I actually now know a lot of people in that movie. So King of Kong is still my favorite arcade movie. Chasing Ghosts, okay, it's a little depressing. It's a lot depressing. I don't like the movies that really kind of make people in this hobby look kind of pathetic, so, but Video Craze, I don't know, I was kind of bored with that one. Space Invaders I thought was pretty decent. That one I didn't mind. What other movies are out there? Now, there's some good pinball ones. My favorite, after King of Kong, my favorite movie is called Tilt, The Battle to Save Pinball, and I highly recommend that one. That is my favorite, my second favorite of all these kind of arcade and pinball videos. It's called Tilt, The Battle to Save Pinball, and it's about Pinball 2000, okay? Because Williams, in the late 90s, Bally Williams basically told the designers that if they didn't change pinball, they were going to shut it down, okay? Because pinball was kind of flat. And they really felt that pinball needed a kick in the butt. And so everyone went to work, George Gomez and Pat Lawler, and they came up with Pinball 2000 over here, which is, I think, the kick in the butt that pinball needed. You know, we have this monitor up here that's reflecting an image on over the playfield in this kind of almost holographic effect, and you aim for these kind of virtual targets, and I love it. I think Pinball 2000 is fantastic. Revenge from Mars, I'll never get rid of that thing. I think that is just a great, great game. And anyway, this documentary is that whole story about these guys, how they went to work, they reinvented pinball, their money, you know, their earnings went up, and then they still shut them down. It's a really sad story, and there's a lot of great extras on that, including some Pinball Expo talks with George Gomez, who, by the way, we did meet in when we did the Stern tour. So anyway, and also there's a movie called King of Chinatown, which I found really interesting. It's about Triforce. You know that guy Triforce who always wears the power glove? He's like a high score guy. But he was like a manager for a Street Fighter guy, and it's really interesting. King of Chinatown's pretty good. I really did like that one. But Space Invaders, decent. Video Craze, didn't do anything for me. I'm trying to think what other movies. I feel like I've seen all of them. I don't know what other ones. Maybe I don't know. I'm drawing a blank right now. So anyway, that's it, guys, for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back very soon. This coming up weekend, June 3rd and 4th, is Brofest. If you guys want to meet me and hang out with Joe and Sean and Greg from Arcade Impossible, make your way up to Fun Spot in New Hampshire, June 3rd and 4th. That's Friday and Saturday. The event is going to start on Friday at noon and go as late as possible. And by the way, this is a high score tournament and doesn't cost anything. We're going to close registration, pre-registration at arcadeevent.com, which is the website. So if you want information, go to arcadeevent.com. We're going to close pre-registration, but you can just show up and register at the event. The event is completely free. It is a low-key tournament. There's going to be some high-score guys there, but don't worry, guys. I've competed in these Fun Spot tournaments every year for like the past 5, 6, 7 years, and I stink. I just like having fun, and we're gonna have an arcade referee there, so the scores are gonna count forever in the record books, and it's a family affair. You know, bring your kids. You can hang out at Fun Spot. It's a beautiful area. Arcadeevent.com's got all the details. It's June 3rd and 4th, starting at 12 noon on Friday, June 3rd, and it's a Friday and Saturday tournament. And if you want to stay at a hotel, the NASWA.com. So I hope to see you guys at Fun Spot. It's gonna be a great time. It really, really is. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Check out my podcast, Video Game Outsiders, at videogameoutsiders.com, Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com, and You Suck Show at yousuckshow.com. If you've never subscribed, also subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with the videos. I release new videos on Sundays and sometimes in between. I do want to do a midweek video this week. I don't know if I'm going to have time because I have to get ready for Brofest, but I've got some things planned, some fun stuff, so we'll see. Anyway, guys, that's it. Send those viewer mails to blkdog7@gmail.com. Subject line, viewer mail. All right, that's it. We'll see you very soon. Later, and bye.